Hi everyone, Anthony Brown here, Associate Broker with Royal LePage Atlantic. Thanks so much for tuning in. I put out informational content about the local real estate market here, trends in the industry, things like that. And I just love chatting about this stuff, and I so appreciate that you took the time out of your day to watch this video. On today's video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the predictions that I have for the rest of the summer here in the greater Halifax Dartmouth real estate market and what we're going to see heading into the fall market. And to do that, I thought I would bring on a very special guest, a good buddy of mine, Matt Honsberger. Matt is the president of Royal LePage Atlantic. Super smart dude. He and I chat a lot about the stats, the market numbers, things like that. So he was the first person I thought of, and he graciously accepted my invitation to come on this video. Guys, if you can do me a favor, if you learn anything from this video, if you like the content, if you think it's good, please go down below and hit the like button, maybe subscribe to my channel so you can stay in the loop with new content that I'm putting out. And I will put a link in the comments below. If you want to book a call with me to go through some of the questions that you have about the real estate market, kind of things that you're hoping to accomplish, anything like that, there will be a link in the comments below where you can book a call with me at a time that works for you. So without further ado, my good pal, Matthew Honsberger. Enjoy. All right, everyone. I'm really happy to be joined today with a good buddy of mine, Matthew Honsberger. He is the president of Royal LePage Atlantic and one of the more influential figures here in the real estate market in Atlantic Canada. Matt's a great guy to come on. I love when we chat about statistics and numbers because he's a numbers guy like I am. And kind of what we want to chat about today, we're a couple weeks into the third quarter here, and we've kind of got a pretty good rundown of what the summer market's going to look like here in the greater Halifax, Dartmouth area. So kind of just get Matt's opinion on where the market's going here through the rest of the third quarter. So kind of finish out the summer and head into the fall. So welcome, Matt. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I feel like the last few times we've done this, it's been a pretty similar conversation. There's low inventory. It's a seller's market, competitive on the buying side. You know, it's kind of been that theme. The one thing I would say now, we're around 2.6 months of inventory, so a bit more of a balanced seller's market, if we can refer to it as that. It's not really a balanced market, but it's a bit less of a seller's market than it was. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And I actually refer to it when I'm talking to people as a bit of a tale of two markets right now, depending on what segment you're in. I think if you're a first-time buyer, you're kind of entry-level home pricing, you're going to expect to compete. The inventory there is going to be a lot tighter than it is if you are someone who's a move-up buyer. And you're probably a little bit more patient, or can be a little bit more patient. And so you might not compete as much for that inventory if you're kind of moving up to a bigger home or an executive home or something like that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I kind of tell people the divide somewhere in the 650 to 750 range. It's definitely a different market under 650, 700 than it is over 700, 750.
Absolutely. And there's, I think there's lots of reasons for that. But, certainly if you're looking to enter the market anywhere in that 650 and under range, you're probably going to be in a more competitive situation. Need to act more quickly and potentially more aggressively with an offer.
For sure. And when you look at the numbers of how many listings are selling for over asking and how many offers on average are coming in at what price point, it's definitely that lower end of the market that's more active for sure.
Absolutely. And and we've been talking about some of the reasons around this. I've got a couple of theories on it. I think the first is that just it's a little bit of a spillover from the rental market. Actually, the rental market is so tight, and rents have increased so dramatically over the last few years that it's causing people to make the decision to go buy a home, find a way to put together the down payment and go out there and buy a home, right? And you're a little less sensitive to, you don't really care as much about what the interest rate is, as long as your monthly payment is comparable to what you pay in rent. It makes sense to start to build that equity, right? And if you're in the kind of move up range, well, I think you can be a little bit more patient in timing interest rate changes. And so, my wife and I have another year and a half before our rate is likely going to jump up. So there's not a huge amount of urgency if we wanted to move right now. We would kind of just wait out and see what happens then.
And I guess that kind of leads me to my next question. So coming in here, we're halfway through July. So July and August, I think how we're going to finish out the summer here in the housing market is going to be quite different than how we start the fall. Would you agree?
I would say, yeah, I would say so too. I think, we've had a fairly solid spring, relative to, let's call it pre-COVID times.
Yeah.
But I think that we are likely going to see a busier fall
Yeah.
as we start to see interest rates drop than we typically would see. So,
Yeah.
if you're a buyer, likely means that all market segments are going to be a little bit more competitive than a typical fall. And if you're a seller, it likely means that you're going to have a little less time on market. So,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Lots of opportunity for both sides. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's absolutely right. There is this amazing, unique opportunity right now. I also think that for those who are waiting, a variable rate mortgage or a
Yeah.
shorter fixed term mortgage is a great option right now. It seems very unlikely based upon all the predictions that we're going to see interest rates rise. So, if you find a home that you're looking for, to your point, you're not competing for it. You get into a variable rate mortgage and you watch what happens with rates over the next 6 to 12 months. You can usually lock that in,
Yeah.
whenever you get comfortable that you feel like you're at the point of bottom. So, that's certainly something that I'd be talking to people about as well is how are they managing their mortgage over the next little while?
Yeah, a 50 basis point difference in your mortgage rate is not going to be the same as paying 50 or $60,000 more for
That's
a
right.
home if you have to,
You got it.
compete with 3 or 4 other people for it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
So kind of specifically talking about like coming into the fall market, typically here in the Halifax Dartmouth area, our market's pretty cyclical. It's busier in the spring, slower in the summer, busier in the fall, slower in the winter. Now through COVID and even, a bit pre-COVID, that kind of went by the wayside. Like we didn't have any kind of natural cycles to our market whatsoever. Do you see that starting to come back here through the rest of 2024 and into the winter and into the new year?
Well, we've seen a very typical cycle so far
Yeah.
this year, and I think we are feeling it slow a little bit here in the summer. Just by way of the cycle, Halifax region in the second quarter of the year does about 70 or 75% more transactions than it does in the first quarter of the year. So
Yeah.
you can kind of expect the third quarter from July, August, and September to kind of slow down back to that first quarter pace. And then it probably through, October, November, or second half of September through the middle of December anyway, ticks back up by 30 or 40%. So it's not quite the same as the spring kind of fever, but you will see that kind of tick back up. I suspect that you'll see the tick up be a little bit stronger this year, but I think that we are probably going back through the seasonal cycles for the next few years that we're used to.
I would agree, and kind of that fall market kind of starts, the first week after the kids are back in school, like kind of like that second week of September, and
Totally.
pretty much goes right through till mid-November is typically what we see.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Even till the end of November, I think you can still see a bunch of trades happening. And then, we start to get into the holiday season and people put plans on hold till the new year. And then I would expect to see some rate cuts coming in the fall.
Yeah. And then coming into the fall, are you predicting we're still going to be in kind of that seller's market, maybe even drop by a bit in terms of months of inventory, would you say?
I would say so. I think that we're going to see more pace to the market. I think we're going to see some price appreciation again. We've seen a little bit already this year, but maybe a little bit more in earnest in the second half of the year. So, the idea of waiting for prices to come down, it seems unlikely to happen, given all the trends that are happening. So my suggestion would be exactly what you've just said, which is there's a buying opportunity right now. And I think I would be taking advantage of it if I were, out there in the marketplace.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Well, listen, pal, I appreciate this. It's great advice and wisdom as always. And I appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure, man.
All
Absolutely.
right, pal, have a great day.
See ya.
Bye-bye.